Welcome to Hot Button Hashtags. My name is Matt. A few videos ago, I gave some parenting advice. I missed a lot of points. I'm not saying that the advice I gave wasn't good, because let me tell you, it's probably some of the best advice you're likely to come across. But I feel like I only covered infants, and let's be honest, that's when they're easy. You're the one who has to come up to speed. Babies aren't difficult. You're difficult. You're anxious. You're terrified. You're all twitchy and you're afraid that they're gonna pull lamps on themselves and they're gonna choke on marbles, which they will, but it's not hard. Just don't give them marbles. When they become toddlers, everything changes because you didn't give them marbles, but somehow they got marbles. Everything changes when they go from infant to toddler because they can move around, and yes, now they will start pulling lamps down on themselves. All of your fears are justified, but the problem is that you're so exhausted from the first 18 months of their life that you just don't care. Maybe they deserve to pull a lamp down on themselves. Maybe that's how they're gonna learn. When you have an infant, it takes forever to leave the house because you gotta pack the diaper bag, you gotta check the diaper, make sure the outfit isn't gross, because sometimes they spit up on it or they poop in it and you don't realize it. And then you gotta get them buckled into that crazy car seat carrier thing, and then you gotta go latch that into the base that's in your car. It took you 45 minutes just to get ready and to get to the store. But when they're a toddler, it's all about getting in and out without hurting anyone, without damaging anything, without embarrassing yourself. And I gotta tell you, that is so much harder than the 45 minutes it takes to get your infant ready. Your infant wants three things. They want to sleep, they want to eat, and they don't want to be wet anymore. That's it. If your infant is crying, you kind of narrow it down to one of those three problems. But toddlers are different. Whereas an infant wants one of three things, a toddler wants everything. A toddler will look at the toy shelf at Walmart and want everything. You walk into the automotive section and you see all the different types of motor oil. They want all of those too. You might go to the landfill and your toddler's looking out the window and he's thinking, that all looks good. So when your toddler's crying and screaming, there's no way to solve that. There's no fix for that. You can't just give them everything. Raising toddlers is impossible. It's not about raising them. It's not about teaching them. It's not about, giving them the tools to survive and blah, blah, blah. It's about keeping them alive. And the other bad thing about toddlers, you're pretty sure you made a mistake at this point, but you're not allowed to say that. No, I don't think you're being funny. It's just not allowed. What did I do? I think I broke it. Your toddler also is very curious. Naturally, they're starting to notice things in the world that they didn't notice before. Light switches, handles, all sorts of stuff. They'll watch you shave and they'll think, maybe I'll do that. If your toddler is like my toddler was, those little caps that you put over your doorknob to keep them from getting into cabinets and closets and stuff, those are useless. But I will say this, toddlers make Facebook way, way more relatable. You can post funny little pictures and little quotes and things they say and do and adorable misunderstandings. But then they'll do something crazy, like take off their pants at church. And you're like, is that funny? Can I tell people that? Or does that paint too real a picture of what horrible parenting I've been doing? When they're an infant and you're you got them in the tub and you're giving them their little bath and then they poop in the tub and you're like, I guess this is just a thing infants do sometimes. Yeah, they do that when they're toddlers too, and it's not cute or little. It's whoa, wow, I guess we have to move now. And toddlers, they come up with crazy things. Well, that lady just saw me talking to myself. And toddlers, they have the craziest opinions about things. Suddenly they don't like peas. And they'll never like peas again. Although you've been feeding them peas for as long as they've been eating solid food. In fact, peas are probably the first thing you feed them. But they won't touch them now. Probably because peas are gross. When people see you at the grocery store with a crying infant, you're a friggin' saint. They say things like, oh, it gets better, and oh, somebody needs a nap. Things like that. Things, where it's there's sympathy. But if you have a crying toddler at the grocery store, people think you kidnapped it. And they'll say crazy things like, hey, Dad, There's that beer you drink all the time. You don't drink beer all the time. Like, sometimes you have a beer. And it's their fault, too, by the way. Toddlers are awful. Oh, man. And that pretty much sums up the second 18 months of your child's life. And then all of a sudden they're preschoolers. And you're looking at preschools and you're thinking about kindergarten and you're buying school supplies. That's when you start to relive your own childhood. And it's not pleasant. Suddenly you're like, wait a minute, my dad had a weird mustache. Or, I remember a couch. I can't describe it. I don't know where it was, if it was even ours, but I remember a couch. Preschoolers they're interesting. They're fun. That's when they start to say genuinely hilarious things. If your kid has a personality, this is when you're gonna start seeing it. And it's so much fun, but it's also terrifying. What if your kid's personality is awful? What if you don't like your kid? I mean, really, it's possible. I've got 3 of them, and I mostly like them. But I don't always. And I'd have to say the worst thing about preschoolers is that they ask questions about everything. I mean, constantly, just question after question after question after question after question after question after question. They don't even give you a chance to answer the question before they're asking another question. They're asking questions. What is wrong with me? Kids did this to me. Can't even talk right. You'll think your preschooler is so advanced, so smart, so clever. And then you take them to preschool, where they're getting evaluated to see, what level is your preschooler at? And they're like, so how many languages do they speak? And you're like, barely one. And then you realize that your kid is an idiot. All the other preschoolers are better than your kid. You kind of had that fear sort of cooking in the back of your mind for a while, ever since you saw them with that crayon up their nose. And I think that's where we're gonna stop. I feel like I've given you guys enough information to be going on with. If you have any other questions about preschoolers or toddlers, look it up somewhere else. Thanks for watching. I'll come back with more advice about how to restrain your children, or I don't know what I'm gonna talk about next time, but it'll be good.